And welcome, guys. What's up, everyone? This is Raine Cruz, and it's time for the rain check with Alexander, God's Warrior Weddle. Hi,
Let's
Alexander.
go.
How are you?
Good. Amazing day today.
It's good to have you here on the rain check. Thank you so much for checking in today. Now, you will be at UNF 21 next week, actually, on November 30th at Commerce Casino. You will be facing Christopher London for the UNF Rising Stars Welterweight Championship. Now, Alexander, this is going to be your first championship bout. Are you excited? Are you nervous?
I would say more or less, the closer I get to the fight, the calmer I am. As
Hmm.
I'm about a week and a half out now, I feel, you kind of accept what you're about to go do. As martial artists, we put our bodies on the line. And as a God-fearing man, I believe, I put my faith in God. I go out there and I'm ready just to showcase the martial artist that I am. And if God allows, I'm walking home with the belt. So that's the plan.
That's awesome. Now, you mentioned that you're a God-fearing man, God-fearing fighter. Do you say a prayer like right before you walk into the cage, or do you say your prayer while you're in the cage?
I would say so. Back in the back room, like before we walk to get to the cage, me and my team at Kings MMA, my brothers, the guys that I trust, we huddle up, we say a prayer, and
Mhm,
we say something, towards just kind of the belief we have in Jesus as Christian men.
mhm.
And then, I make the walk, and knowing that I make that walk, it gives me goosebumps thinking about it now because it's the best feeling ever. But after that prayer, making that walk, there's nothing better knowing that you have a group of people and most importantly, you have God on your side as you walk into that cage.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Now, how's the training going when you're this close to your fight? Do you train harder, or you kinda try your best to not get injured and, especially when you're a few days away from, your bout?
I would say, I don't want to give away too much, but I would say, I keep a great like intensity wise, we keep it as tense as we possibly can because simulation of the fight, I there's a certain time where I tone it down when we get closer, and I tone it down because I want my body to be 100% when I
Mm.
step in there. I don't want to have some, problem here and a problem there, and then going in there with that in the back of my mind that I'm not able to, be 100% Alex, but we keep it, intense, fight, ready. And once it gets closer, I focus more on the lungs, focus on kind of making sure my stamina and the weight cut. The weight cut is always a big part of the fight. That's the fight before the fight. So I want to make sure my body's good and I don't get sick from anything before walking in.
Okay, now you mentioned the weight cut.
Yeah.
Now, our event, UNF 21, is right after Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Weigh-ins is literally right after Thanksgiving.
It's the worst.
Alexander, have you meal prepped already, or do you have any plans on what you're gonna eat for Thanksgiving since you're gonna be weighing in the next day?
I believe I'm gonna just delay gratification.
Mhm.
I'm one of those people where, don't get me wrong, I love food, like love food, but I think the love that I have for martial arts and what martial arts has done for my life. It's changed me as a man, gave me opportunities I could never imagine, and I think I'm gonna delay the gratification because when I get done and God willing, I come home with that belt, then my plate's gonna be stacked to the ceiling. So.
You're gonna have turkey legs and a bunch of mashed potato,
Oh yeah,
right?
the gravy, the stuffing. It's
That's
the best.
awesome.
The best.
Now, sweet potato pie or pumpkin pie?
Sweet potato
Okay.
and pumpkin, but I like sweet potato. What is it? Sweet potato casserole with the
With the
marshmallow.
marshmallow? Oh, okay. Now you're talking. Now you're talking. That's good.
Yeah, that hits a certain place in my heart.
Uh-huh. That's awesome. Yeah, I love that too, man. Just the smell of it too, like, makes me, like,
Oh,
really
yeah.
hungry.
I think you know times like Thanksgiving, Christmas are so. I love family time. Like
Mhm,
having a bunch of family in the house. There's no better feeling, and especially like now I get to have family around leading up into this fight,
mhm.
and that's big to me. It keeps my heart in the right place, and I think we all feel that way. Thanksgiving's such a great time to sit around and talk to everyone. I'll be sipping on water and little here and there, but like
Mhm.
I still love the energy, so it's amazing.
That's good. Now you mentioned you have, a big family. Now, will a lot of them be at the event, or will is there gonna be a watch party at home?
So I'm actually born and raised in Indiana, and
Okay.
I moved out here. I would say probably in 2020. It's been about 4.5, 5 years, and I was started boxing in Indiana, and I've been doing that athlete my whole life, and then moved out here to chase the MMA dream. And now I'm gonna have some family members out here that are gonna watch and come to the fight. A few
Mm,
select few, but back home in Indiana is gonna be a huge viewing party. They're gonna have it at the house, and 20, 30 people, the family there. That's the best thing, and that's what touches me more. That I have that support across the country back home. My sister is gonna put it on like at the bar. She works at a bar. She's gonna put it on the TVs and stuff. So it makes you feel good that you have that support coming from back home. It's just an extra push.
oh my god, I can only imagine, man, like, your sister would probably be like, "Oh my god, that's my brother fighting right there."
It's probably amazing to me. I'm like I can't even think about it because that's too much added. But to them, it makes me grateful that I get to make my family proud and represent the last name the right way.
Aw, that's amazing. Now this is gonna be your 4th career bout as an amateur fighter.
Yes.
You're a young fighter, you're new in your career. What important lessons have you learned so far since you made your debut last year?
So I've had one loss since then, and
Mhm,
I would say, you take as much from the losses as you do from the wins. And I learned a lot more about myself. As a fighter, I believe deep down I'm going to be one of the best in the world one day. I truly believe that I have what it takes to be in the UFC, to be in the highest level, to be there. But I learned more about myself taking a loss that I felt like I should have won. And, hats off to who beat me. But I learned more then than I did coming out of a win, going home and thinking, okay, let's get ready for the next fight, than I did going from that loss, learning about myself, growing as an amateur.
mm,
It was almost like an ego death. I had this, you have this big ego and it gets crushed. Now, how are you going to bounce back? How do you pick yourself up as a true fighter? And I think that's something I've learned a lot through this amateur career before I turn pro in the next year or two that I'm going to definitely carry with me through the whole thing. And I'm not saying, I'm not looking for a loss. Let's go undefeated. That's the number one thing here. But I think a lot of guys don't think about that. Like, even in the gym as an amateur, out of King's MMA, we have tons of high level fighters, UFC veterans, high level UFC fighters. And when I talk to these guys and we spar and we go with these guys, that's kind of, that's the same thing they tell us. We're learning from them, learning from going out there and just doing. You have to go out there, you got to fight, you
mm.
got chances, and you got to put yourself on the line. And I think that's where I learn more from.
That's amazing. Like, and I'm glad that you are actually taking notes now, like
Mhm.
earlier in your career, because I think a part of you guys chasing your dream, a part of the reason why you're here is it's a learning process.
Yes. And
Yeah,
it
and it
truly, like,
Mhm,
I think, back, if you talk with some of the guys, there was an amateur, I don't know how long ago, correct me if I'm wrong, but 10 or 15 years ago, there wasn't amateur fighting. So
mm,
that we have this opportunity now to get these early bumps and bruises and, road bumps out of the way before we go to the bigger shows. I think that's such a blessing for us now in today's age. Because back then it's like, boom, go pro, throw you in with the Lions and learn how you learn. You know what I mean? But now we're, as young men, we're growing into what we want to become. And I think it's a blessing to have that now.
that's awesome. That's a good way to look at it.
Yes.
Yeah, and so looking at your, career so far, your victories are by knockouts in the
Yes.
1st and 2nd round. Now you clearly want to get the job done as soon as possible, so that's amazing,
We don't
but
get paid to stand there long.
yeah. But now, do you ever wonder how it might be if, you make it to a 3rd round, right? Do you ever, like, think, "Okay, will I be still, like, okay to fight in a 3rd round? How's my cardio level gonna be?" Or you're confident with your strength and stamina as a fighter that you can keep up no matter how long the fight's gonna be?
Right. See, so like in the gyms that I train with at King's MMA, over with Benny at King's Anaheim, that's something that we are prepared for all the way. Now,
Mm,
any day of the week, I'll take an early stoppage and get out of there quicker. My body's saved. I'm saving myself a lot of different things. But as a true fighter, a true warrior, I believe that I'm prepared for 5 rounds, five
Mm.
minutes. I'm prepared for title fight at 5 minutes. I'm training that every day. This is what I train for. And I think, if I do see a third round, I think a lot of people are going to realize that I am a high level fighter, like I say. And in that third round, it'll be shown.
Ooh, can't wait for that, man. Can't wait for that. Now you mentioned being a warrior. So tell me about your nickname, God's Warrior. I love it. How did you come up with that? Or did someone give you that nickname?
So I, it's funny. It came about during my first fight. I've kind of had it a little bit before, and we played around with it before my first debut. And me being a God fearing man and just a Christian man, I put my faith so much in that. It just kind of clicked. It rang. Me and my family talked about it. Me and my girlfriend talked about it. My friends at the gym. And it just started clicking, and I was like, man, that really goes with who I am as a person.
Mm,
um I believe, I don't want to get all philosophical on you here, but back in the day, if we still had a sword and shield, I believe I'd be the same person walking into battle with my sword and shield, you know what I mean, as a warrior for God. And it just kind of clicks for me now, and it stayed with me ever since.
that's awesome. Now, will there ever be a time where and we're actually gonna see you walk out to the cage with a sword and a shield? People sometimes come
Never
out
know,
with
never know.
different, like, costumes.
That's not a bad idea, to be honest with you. That's not a bad idea. I may have to do that.
That's awesome. So you won a jiu-jitsu competition last year, actually, at CompNet California Jiu-Jitsu League. Then a
Mhm.
few months later, you made your MMA debut. Was that always the plan? And how did you transition from competing in jiu-jitsu into MMA?
So as I grew up from about 15 to 16, I played
Mm,
sports my whole life, athlete my whole life. It's just what I've loved doing. And I was boxing from about 15 years old, growing from that. But as I transitioned to MMA, the more that I trained in that first year, I realized the ground game, the grappling side of things is second to none when it comes to MMA. Now, if I'm in a
mm,
kickboxing, Muay Thai, you know, different type of fighting style and martial arts, I love striking. I'm amazing at it, and I love to do it. But once it clicked to me that, as we talk about learning from your losses, as well as one of my losses in my career, I got submitted, and that's another moment in me that clicked for me. Okay, look, I was already training it, but now I got to take it to another level. And I always try to keep my grappling now, at that level of being prepared for anything.
mm. That's
And
amazing.
it's such a dominant, as you've seen in today's sport, wrestling is so dominant
Yeah.
in martial arts now, especially in the highest level. And I think that for anyone coming into this, should definitely have some type of wrestling background, whether it's jujitsu or, learning that side of things before stepping into the cage.
That's why they call it mixed martial arts. You gotta be
Exactly.
good. Yeah. You gotta be good with, all these types of martial arts, right?
Right, 100%. And being able to mix those is the biggest thing. It's like I can stand there and strike all day. I could do that all day. It's what I love to do. But now we're talking striking and I'm shooting. And how is your stamina going to be? How are you going to be when you're done grappling and standing back up to strike again? It's a different type of stamina. And that's something, along the way I had to learn. And
Mm.
I definitely got over that now. And it's something that I enjoy and I love doing. But when I first started, it was a struggle, so.
Oh, wow. Now, I feel like I know the answer to the question that I'm gonna
Mhm.
ask you right now. Would you still compete though in jiu-jitsu, or do you wanna just focus now on MMA?
I'd 100% compete in jujitsu.
Okay.
I love it. So it's not that, first and foremost, I'm a martial artist and an MMA fighter. But as a martial artist, I like to test myself in like different areas. Like a lot of these guys, if you go to a no gi competition, they only do jujitsu. Like they're strictly jujitsu every day
Mm,
training. But it's awesome as MMA fighters or someone who enjoys the grappling side of things to get in there and to test yourself with people like that,
mm,
because it really can kind of show you where your level is compared to the people who are strictly focused on just that. And I think that's a great test for some people to do to get ready for a fight or if you're going against a grappler, prepare yourself, and I think that's the best way to do it.
Just to test yourself.
Test
Right?
yourself.
Yeah,
Iron sharpens iron every day. So that's a good mantra I try to live by.
that is true. Now, I've seen amateur fighters who'd move up to the pro scene after a couple of fights under their belt. Now, you
Uh-huh.
mentioned earlier you see yourself as a high level fighter, and you're going to be in the UFC one day. Now, do you have like a set number of fights in your head that, okay, once I hit this number of fights, I will go pro? Or you're enjoying the moment right now and you're basically kind of like, sticking on God's plan, whenever you feel like it's the right moment.
That what you said at the end couldn't have said it any better. I look, let's I come out here, I win this belt, I go home and I get a phone call. Hey, you want to take this pro fight and it's a great opportunity? By any means, I'm going and I'm going to make it happen and we're going to do it. But like you said, I think, the best way possible for me to take my career right now is trust God.
Mm,
I've done it already in the places that he's put me in and taken me to. I couldn't ask for any more. And as a young man, being just turned 25 in this game, I'm a baby in MMA right now, And I think trusting God's plan and just staying forward with that, fight by fight. If the opportunity presents itself, we go, we take advantage of the opportunity. But for right now, one fight at a time and then see what God has planned going forward.
that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Thank
You trust in God, trusting the process.
Yes, and I think, there's been times where it gets hard. I think that's the hardest thing as I'm not just going to say a martial artist, I'm going to say as an athlete or even just as a human being to trust God. What you go through in life, there's all these bumps and, you know, moments in the way that can make you be like, what's going on? What's happening? And then couple months, whatever time limit down the line, it's like boom, oh, that's what God was doing all along. And I've had a lot of those moments lately, and
Mm.
it's made me realize as a young man, it's trust. Stop wavering, have faith, and stay on the path. So that's something I'm trying to live by right now.
Oh, I commend you for that, man. I love it.
Thank, thank you.
That's amazing. Now you are Italian Croatian. You mentioned
Mhm.
earlier you have like this big family. When I posted my promo picture of, you being on the rain check, there's a lot of people that like that picture, a lot of people that shared that post. Now, who is your biggest supporter?
My family and my girlfriend.
Mhm.
They are there for me every step of the way. Now, don't get me wrong, I have all my brothers and my friends and everyone that helps me train and that is with me at the gym, that is with me at the gyms. But my girlfriend, Destiny,
Mm,
my mother, my father, my grandmother, my noni, my poppy, those people are there when they see the things that others don't. When you're at home and you're going through the times and they're there for you through those times. Those are things that people don't see that us MMA fighters go through. The what it does to the body, what it does to just, what we go through
mm.
mentally, physically. We're a lot of people see us as like not I wouldn't say like not human, but strong. We can go through anything.
Superhero.
Yeah, but we're human. Like I have feelings. I go home. I have hard days, and those are the people that are there for me every single step of the way that I can rely on. That I go home and I don't have to second guess anything. My family's there. My girlfriend Destiny's there, and those are the people that I can count on any day of the week.
That's beautiful. You have that amazing support system. I can only imagine that bar, like in Indiana, where your sister's
Uh,
gonna be.
I can too. Hey, it's gonna be amazing, truly.
That's awesome. And then your house would be like full, what, 20, 30 people, like you said earlier?
Yeah, and it's gonna be family, but then the family friends, like close family friends too. So they'll bring people. I couldn't tell you like a head count, but it's honestly a blessing to have like my hometown supporting from across the country. It doesn't get better than that. So
That's something to be thankful for,
exactly.
right? Now let's quickly manifest your future. You're a
Hmm.
young man, young fighter who's starting out in your career. If one day a sponsor knocks on your door and say, "Hey, we'd like to sponsor you, Alexander God's Warrior Weddle,"
Right.
what brand would it be?
Ooh. Uh, can I give you like a top two?
Sure, okay.
So I've always my whole life, I loved Nike.
Mm.
Nike. I've always loved Nike. Um, it's always been one of my top the line, but down right under it is Ruka, RVCA.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
yes. So if I could get a sponsorship by them too, I would be more than grateful for that as well. But those two right now are probably the top of the line for me right now.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it. Here's my pro tip for you. Like when you manifest like, stuff like that about getting sponsorships, you should practice like the way you smile once you're
Uh,
wearing.
like get a good get my good teeth going, shake it a little bit.
Yeah, get in front of the mirror, like act like you're already wearing it, right? They're sponsoring
Right.
you, right?
Pre-modeling before the modeling happens.
Right, right. That way, once you get it, once they knock at your door, you're ready.
Exactly. You come prepared. I
Now we
love
talked
it.
Yeah, we talked about this earlier that Thanksgiving is next week.
Mhm.
This is a two-part question. What are you grateful for as a young man and as a fighter?
Let's go. I'll go with young man first, and then we'll go to the fighter. So, as a young man, oh, as a young man, I'm grateful for what God has given me.
Mhm,
I don't want to go too deep into my story about everything. I feel like there will be a time and a place, and I can talk about it a little bit here now. But
mhm,
I've had some bumps in my career down the line when I was a young man, addicted to some different things I shouldn't have been. And as a fighter, it brought me out of places that I could never imagine. To have something as a young person to go and look forward to not look forward to being around the wrong group of people, going down the wrong path. I was such a talented person as a young man and as a teenager, and I took a few wrong steps that cost me some things. But now, all praise to the Lord, I have got that back full all the way. And I would say, as of anything, I'm grateful that for the life I have now, the friends I have around me, my family, and yeah, I don't want to get too emotional on you.
aw, no, it's okay. It is good that you're recognizing the stuff that, you are grateful for, right? Because I
Right.
think it's such a blessing. Because sometimes I feel like, we get into a point where okay, we forget how blessed we are.
Yes.
And just by listening to you today, you have so many, things to be grateful for, so many people that you're grateful for. That's such a great example for for anyone who's listening to us right now, who's watching us right now, that we should be always be grateful, right?
Every day. I mean, a lot of times something I've, worked on over like the years now is like even just waking up,
Mhm,
getting up, having food on the table in front of me. Okay, I have food on now. What are the opportunities I have? If I look out 5, 6 years ago when I was in the position I was in, I didn't have the opportunities that I can talk to you about now and be like, November 30th, Alexander God Warrior Weddle gets to fight for a title and has an opportunity to bring that home, which I will. But I could never have said that 5 years ago. In my mind, I would have probably thought, where am I going to be? Am I going to be dead? Am I going to be in jail? Now, I have a story to tell. I can tell you, I can talk to the people and inspire others around me. And that is something that's very important to me. Very important.
aw. So, Alexander, how grateful are you for a promotion like Up Next Fighting, right? Especially, for an amateur fighter like you. I feel like when I see you guys, you're like a superhero. When I watch UNF, I see you guys, it's like, oh my God, the promo pictures, the way they build up the storylines and stuff. I think it's amazing. So, for you as an amateur fighter, how grateful are you for UNF?
Immensely grateful. I couldn't even put it into words because, I've had talks with them about this before, but to say it here now, these people give us opportunities that is amazing. Not to put down any one of their shows. I'm not trying to, say anything negative about other shows. But at the end of the day, these guys put their best foot forward for us every single time. They treat us how we deserve to be treated, respected, and as fighters, I think that's huge because to make it easier for us to go to fight is something that we need instead of dealing with all the stress and the extra things that to deal with. And these guys, They're the real deal. And I think, down the line, the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to see something even more out of Up Next. I mean, they're already like to the point of, I'm not, trying to compare anything, but we're talking LFA as a small pro show that's bigger now. I mean, Up Next is already moving to that direction. And we have no idea what the next 5 to 10 years holds. But I trust in them. And these guys have always treated me the right way, always put their best foot forward for me. And I have nothing but respect for them.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. And, I'm glad that, we have fighters like you who
Mhm.
are, who are passionate about fighting, who are here to show us that you love fighting and you are here to put on a show. I mean,
Yes.
come on, man. Like,
Doesn't get
knockout.
better.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I don't know how, like, I'm trying to see what I'm more excited for, the knockout or like you seeing you in the third round. 'Cause
Yes. Hey, let's hope that we just, God protects and I walk out of there with the belt. And I believe at the end of the day, I will be walking home with that belt. No disrespect to Christopher London. I think he's a great fighter. I think, he's a good person. But I just believe, and if I didn't believe this, what type of fighter am I? What type of warrior can I call myself? If I didn't believe that I was going to go walk into that cage November 30th, win, and leave with that belt, I don't think then I should be chasing this career. I think I should be in a different career.
Mm,
Uh, my belief and my faith is unbreakable. And yeah, I don't want to dive too much deep into that, but I just feel, it's going to be my night. And at the end of the day, respect to my opponent, but I'm going to go out there and showcase a lot.
that's awesome. Well, last thing for you, Alexander, any message for your family, for your supporters, and for your fans?
I love you guys. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for everything that you do. Without the support, I don't get the opportunities I get. I don't get the touching feelings of my heart when I go out there to have, the motivation, the faith, the people behind me that are behind me in hometown in Indiana, Bloomington, Indiana. I love you guys. Um, I love my family, Destiny. I love you, my girlfriend, my everyone that is here to support me and push me along the way. You guys do something that you have no idea, and it builds nothing but confidence inside of me. So thank you.
Ah, it's amazing. Thank you so much, Alexander, for joining us here on the Rain Check. Guys, please do follow him on Instagram at Alexander Weddle MMA. That's Alexander WEDGLEMMA. So you
Hmm.
can get updates from him, and also follow at Up Next Fighting on Instagram as well. Tickets are still available for UNF 21 next Saturday, November 30th. Get your tickets at upnextfighting.com so you can see Alexander Weddle versus Christopher London, God's Warrior versus the Pretty Boy for the UNF Rising Stars Welterweight Championship. Alexander, thank you so much. I'll be seeing you next week at the weigh-ins. I
Thank
cannot
you so
wait.
much, and I'm grateful for what you did for me today as well. Grateful for you. Keep doing what you're doing, and let's keep having faith in the trust that God has for us. So thank you for today.
Amen. Thank you so much, that. Thank you. Guys, this is Raine Cruz. He is Alexander Weddle, and we are checking out. Bye.